Hi.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Knock Knock Hi with the Glaucomfleckens. I am Dr. Glaucomflecken, also known as Will Flannery.
I am Lady Glaucomflecken, also known as Kristen Flannery.
We're coming to you in daylight savings time.
Yes, that's true.
So I did a little research.
Uh-huh.
Like, there's a lot of states that are wanting to get rid of this.
Including ours, I think.
Is that right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
There's like 18, like, it's like active legislation
Yeah.
at all times trying to
stop doing this to us.
And what I think is going to happen is people want it to, like, I don't know is it standard time? Like, what's the terminology? But like, once you move forward,
Then you're in
spring
daylight
forward,
time.
that's where people want it to stay.
Okay.
So not the other way around.
Okay.
Which, as long it's the change, especially when you got kids.
It is rough.
It is that Monday, and the reason we're talking about this is because it just happened. So
Yes.
we're all just a little bit run down.
Yeah.
Plus, we just got back. We went to New Orleans.
We did.
We had a show, and I've got a story to tell about this
Ooh.
show.
Oh.
So, people
So
always.
do I.
A question I get asked a lot is which specialties have you have you pissed off? Have gotten mad about my portrayal, about their specialty or whatever. And generally, I know what I can get away with and what I can't now. So I'm really good about not pissing off specialties in medicine. The way I make fun of them is I know what to do.
You kind of know the sensitive
I know
topics.
what to do now. I know what to do now. So I can do it in a way that people don't get mad at me. Right. But I never thought that one group that I could potentially make angry are nuns.
Yep. Yeah.
So here's the story. So we did and just to preface, like the nun, me and the nuns are on good terms now. Like we're good. But anyway, so we did a show, our show that we do together for a Catholic health system, which there's a lot of these.
Sure.
Right. And so that the church is involved in the hospital system and everything. And so as part of this, typically what happens is there's also like sisters, they call them sisters, right? The nuns, that are, and I'm not sure exactly what they do, but they're around and they're involved in, chaplain care and, pastoral care and that kind of thing. So during our show, first of all, I told them I'd be talking a lot about testicles. Like it's the thing.
It's just part of the
it's
story.
Part of my story. Like testicles have been a big part of my life and the lack of testicles, and why that happened. So, but as one part of the show, I talk about the experience of banking sperm.
Yes, you sure do.
This is a part of healthcare. Every hospital does it. They every day, men walk into a hospital. They produce
samples,
semen into a cup, and then they go home. This happens. So anyway, I've got a lot of jokes, like a lot of material about this. But this particular show, one part I usually say is I talk about how in these rooms where this is happening, there is pornography in the room. Again, this is healthcare. Like this is but the joke usually is, which I found kind of funny, because that means there is a hospital administrator whose job it is to choose the pornography. Which always gets a good laugh because everyone loves making fun of hospital administrators.
Also, that's just no one has thought of that before, and that is a funny observation. Like, whose job
Who's
is
doing
that?
It? Yeah. Who's doing it? Like, and what is that conversation like?
Yeah,
like,
how do you get that expense approved?
Where do you go? Can you even buy DVDs,
do they accept
pornographic DVDs anymore? So anyway, there's a lot of questions surrounding it that I still am not really aware of. Anybody who can give me some insight into this process, please send us an email. But in this particular show, I decided to ad-lib a line where I said, and this is, by the way, probably 250, mostly physicians, hospital leadership.
And then some nuns in the front row.
I said, after telling that joke, I said, all I ask for you guys in particular, please just don't make the sisters do it.
I was grabbing my head and just
You're backstage.
yes, I was backstage, and I was just I heard you say that, and I was like, "Oh my god." I was mortified.
I mean, it was a joke, but also I firmly like they don't need to be don't give them other things to do.
Sure.
It's somebody else can handle that task.
Mhm.
So so the reaction I got when I said that was it kind of like it got a laugh,
Mhm.
but like kind of like
Like they weren't sure.
20% groan
Uh-huh.
laugh. Like,
Mhm.
oh, not sure what to do. And I looked at the two sisters who
Mhm.
were sitting at a table in the front.
Mhm.
Were both laughing,
Yeah. Phew.
which made me at first I was like, oh my god, did I just like lose this audience? Because it's
Right.
only like halfway through the show, so it's like we got a lot of show left.
Yeah.
I was like, you never want to lose the audience. And but I looked at the sisters and they were laughing. And then I told the crowd, okay, it's okay. The sisters are laughing. And then that got a big laugh and I brought
Yeah.
him back.
Right.
Everybody was okay at that point. We were all right. The sisters can appreciate a good joke about sperm banking. It's fantastic. And they both came up and we got pictures afterwards.
Yes.
So
They liked it. They loved the show.
so it being okay, but that was like I was so scared for
I was
like
too.
3 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I think
It was a big swing.
it was a big swing.
Could have been a miss.
It
Thankfully it hit.
it was very memorable. Ended up being a great show too. Like we had a wonderful crowd down there in New Orleans. So
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. And I had no idea that food could be that good.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, as someone
You
with
didn't get to
ARFID,
appreciate it.
it's lost on me, but
I had
that's
some
what I hear.
I had is it really just butter? Is that like
Maybe.
is that's all it takes? I got the beignets,
I did eat those. Those were delicious.
the redfish,
Mhm.
and some gumbo. Best gumbo I'd ever had in my life.
Did you have some étouffée?
I did not get to that touffet. We didn't.
Oh,
We only had like 18 hours there, so I didn't get to eat
yeah.
everything. But no, all the more reason to go back.
We
So
also went to a restaurant where the waiter called you Pookie, which I really enjoyed.
yeah, he was kind of like an insult comic kind
He
of
was
guy. Yeah,
hilarious. It was great. I
yeah,
loved
he
it.
was good. Shout out to Coop's Place.
Yes.
It's a little hole in the wall place that had awesome food. It was great. Okay. So I got a couple things to talk about today.
Okay.
I'll warn you, I'm feeling a bit pessimistic right now.
I could tell you're a little spicy
I'm a
today.
little spicy, a little ornery. Is it
Mhm.
ornery? You say ornery. I say ornery.
Or it's spelled ornery.
Every time
This is a debate.
every time I heard you say it, you say
Ornery.
ornery.
That's just what I
Ornery.
heard
There's
growing
no
up.
A. There's no A in
No,
it.
I know. It's
All right.
grammatically incorrect. I don't know why it's pronounced that way
As long as you
sometimes.
can acknowledge that you're wrong.
I
about it.
do. But I can't bring myself to say ornery. It just doesn't feel right.
So here's the thing about the healthcare. So recently I put out the video with Senator Warren. We
Yes.
collaborated,
Mhm.
and it's gone great. It's had a few million views across social media,
And
and
just in case you missed it, it's about a bipartisan bill
yes.
to
We haven't talked about this yet on
No.
the podcast. Oh,
Mm-mm.
okay. So it's basically Senator Warren's team reached out to us and wanted to try to just, I guess, the senator had seen one of my prior videos about pharmacy benefit managers
Yes.
and basically talking about like the how everything's vertically integrated or moving toward vertical integration. They're trying to like do that, and it's just raising prices.
Mhm.
Ordinarily that ends up lowering prices for like a lot of companies who do it, the
Mhm.
vertical integration thing, but not for healthcare. No,
No.
everything's just going through the roof.
Right.
And I guess Senator Warren had seen one of my prior videos about this, and the team reached out and wanted to do something around this bill called the Breakup Big Medicine Act,
Mhm.
which is a bipartisan bill with Josh Hawley, and they're wanting to try to break up these giant conglomerates like Optum.
Yeah.
Um, they're all doing it,
Yeah.
Aetna and all the things. So So of course, like I'm like on board with it. Like, yeah, what like we gotta like something has to be done. Let's do it. So he did the video. She actually did a great job.
Yeah, she
Some
did.
pretty good acting skills.
Yeah.
Sent him a script. Fortunately, they didn't have a lot of rewrites, just a couple little lines, but it all turned out okay. And everybody, people like most of the time, I didn't get any, a few little negative comments, but you're going to get that anytime you
Yeah.
like do something political. And but it just shows you like how much people want things to
Right.
change and get better.
I mean, the fact that it is a bipartisan bill in 2026
Yeah.
should tell you just how big this problem is, that literally everyone.
Now I am still like, I think chances are it's not going to happen.
Right, because it would have to get
Because
through
it
all those steps to
so
get
many
past.
yeah, exactly. So much has to be done in order to and the country is a little bit distracted right now
Mhm.
with a, war going on. But I have hopes. I have hope.
Yeah.
I have hope. And it does help that it's bipartisan.
At
But
the very least, it's bringing the conversation to the
right.
highest levels of government,
We,
and so that's a step
we're
forward.
talking about it.
Mhm.
But here's a pet peeve that I have about the reaction to stuff like this on
Mhm.
social media. Is I get so frustrated, and people do this on a lot of my healthcare system related videos.
Mhm.
Uh, they say, "Why don't we just do universal healthcare?
Mhm.
Like, why are we wasting our time with this? We need universal healthcare."
Mhm.
Dismissing this possibility of doing this thing, whatever it
Right.
may be,
Mhm.
and saying, "Why? We need universal healthcare."
Okay.
The reason this bothers me is because I tend to be maybe a little bit pessimistic
Mhm.
when it comes to change, like improving the healthcare system in this country. But also, I feel like I'm a bit of a realist.
Mhm.
We will never have a single piece of legislation that will give us what people think of as universal healthcare, a single payer system.
Mhm. That's just too big of a
It's too big of
change
a change.
from where we currently are.
There's too many corporate interests. We're too much of a capitalist minded country. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. We're not going to do it. We're not. But
Not anytime soon anyway, probably.
I mean, no. And so we keep pounding the drum for this
Mhm.
while missing opportunities to make something better.
Right.
So that's where I land on this. It's like, yes, in a utopia. We're in on the Avatar world, whatever
Right.
it is. I don't. That's not. But this is a beautiful world where
Yeah.
then yes, affordable, accessible healthcare for everybody.
Mhm.
That should be the goal.
Mhm.
That should be our goal as a society, as a country.
Mhm.
Affordable, accessible healthcare for everybody. Um, but so how do we get there? And
Yeah.
it's not just going to be one piece of legislation that automatically gets us that.
Right.
So why? Why?
But if people are not continuing to ring the bell for universal health care, will we try? You know what I mean? Like, I think you may be right that it's too far of a leap from where we are to actually do that in that way. But if people are, I mean, you watch those videos or you learn about the policy, and it does make sense that like this is all silly, And I get your point that yes, but in order to make change, we have to work within the system we have. But if they're not saying and reminding and demanding universal health care, then why would there wouldn't be any pressure to move in that direction.
I'm not. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that people should not like say I want this. Like that's fine. That's fine. I want accessible, affordable healthcare for everyone. We can agree or disagree on how we get there,
Mhm.
but I think that's fine to say. I want universal healthcare. Like that's okay thing to say. It's when you in doing that, you say stop wasting your time doing these other things.
Mhm.
that irritates the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Like, what? We should just not.
Just do nothing.
We should
just complain.
We should not do this thing that has a much, much higher percent chance of actually making it through the legislative process
Mm-hmm.
just because it's not the perfect thing that we all want.
Right.
Like, what is that? That doesn't make any sense.
Is it better than what we have now? Yes, no.
So throw your support. If you want universal health care, great. I agree. I would love universal health care. I want accessible, affordable health care for everyone. But it's okay to throw your support behind like some of these other things that, yeah, it's still like for-profit healthcare, but it's going to make things a little bit better for people.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to rein in some costs a little bit. Like things like the No Surprises Act, like that's not a perfect piece of legislation, but what happened to me with my cardiac arrest bills wouldn't have happened now because of the No Surprises Act.
Mm-hmm.
Prior authorization reform, all these things. I'm just saying, like,
progress can be made.
What's the forest for the trees thing? That's the thing. I always say it wrong.
Losing the forest for the trees.
That's it. Let's just like work towards like let's do something that might work.
Right. Rather than saying, is this the perfect ideal? Just maybe the standard should be, is this better than what we currently do?
Because I want something to be better in my lifetime.
Yeah. That would be nice.
Right?
I feel like as millennials, we are solidly in the everything has just gotten worse in our lifetime. So
it really has.
That would be a nice change.
Recessions and then now another war and I don't know. Anyway. So I just had to. It's a little pet peeve of mine that I was seeing a lot of those comments come through on that video about this Breakup Big Medicine Act, and I didn't put anything out there just because I want us all to kind of be on the same team, and I get what the people are saying, like they want universal health care. Yes, that's great, but what about this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can we do this?
Right.
And work toward that on the way to that other thing. Yeah. Okay. So one more thing about like legislate. You know what? Actually, let's take a break.
Okay.
I got one more thing about the legislative process. Hey, Kristen.
Yeah.
Be honest. Do people think about their eyelids?
Honestly, I don't. Okay. Not unless something's wrong.
They should, because eyelids are amazing. They distribute your tears. They protect you from incoming objects. They're really important for overall eye health as well.
And we both know they can also be affected by something very common, Demodex mite.
Oh, yeah. Demodex blepharitis.
That's
when Demodex mites overgrow and they start causing problems like itchy, red, irritated eyelids with crusties.
Mm-hmm. Collarettes.
Collarettes, you got it. And everyone should know that if your eyelids aren't healthy, your eyes won't be either. That's why it's important to see an eye doctor, to get an eyelid check, which is part of a normal eye exam.
And the good news is there's a prescription eye drop treatment available for Demodex blepharitis.
It's great news. To learn more about eyelid health and Demodex blepharitis, visit miteslovelids.com. Again, that's miteslovelids.com to learn more. This ad is brought to you by Tarsus Pharmaceuticals. Hey, Kristen, you know what my mom's obsessed with?
What?
Cozy Earth.
Oh, yes, she is. We have gotten her hooked.
Oh, she can't go anywhere without her Cozy Earth.
One in every room.
Which is fine because now they got the robes and the slippers.
Yes. We should get her for Mother's Day. We should get that.
That's right. And the robes, spacious pockets.
Mm-hmm.
It's and you can tie it up, and it's adjustable ties too. So it's like to fit you whenever. And it got the slippers.
Mm-hmm.
So you're walking around the house. You're wrapped up in cozy. You're walking on cozy.
You are just ensconced in coziness.
There's so much coziness going on for Mother's Day.
That's perfect.
Like, what better way to celebrate Mother's Day?
Honestly, that's all I want is like a day of coziness on Mother's
Sounds
Day.
Awesome. Let this Mother's Day be a reminder that she deserves care too. Discover how Cozy Earth turns everyday routines into moments of softness and ease. Head to CozyEarth.com and use my code KNOCK for an exclusive 20% off. And if you see a post-purchase survey, be sure to mention you heard about Cozy Earth right here on Knock Knock High, because home starts with mom. Okay, so I've been talking a lot recently about this Eugene
Yes.
Emergency Physician So just a quick recap.
And this is happening all over the place, not
Yeah,
just Eugene,
right.
but
Riverbend, Peace Health Riverbend Hospital in Eugene, Oregon, decided not to renew the contract for Eugene Emergency Physicians, a Democratic physician-owned group, a practice like mine, that had been staffing this emergency department for 35 years. Uh, Peace Health decided not to renew the contract and give it to this corporate firm based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I hesitate to say it's private equity owned because they're actually trying to figure that out from a legal standpoint. Um, because it does look like in the past there has been private equity backing for this company in Atlanta, Georgia, Apollo
Mhm.
MD, but they call themselves physician owned. But they're trying to, it looks like they're trying to sweep under the rug any kind of potential private equity investment that's been done in that company.
Okay.
So anyway, that's the kind of the context here. I recently went to support the Eugene Emergency Physicians at the state capitol in Oregon.
Mhm.
They had a congressional meeting just to tell some of the state senators what the hell's going on. Like,
Mhm.
look what's happening. Peace Health closed the only Eugene hospital in town, which forced all this volume of patients over to Riverbend.
Mhm.
And then basically Peace Health said, "Oh, they're not doing a good enough job of managing this. We're not going to renew your contract." So basically, they're just like, it's a problem of Peace Health's own making
Mhm.
that the Eugene Emergency Physicians didn't have any control over. They're doing a great job. And so, in fact, Peace Health hasn't really given a good explanation of why the contract's not being renewed in favor
Mhm.
of this company 2,000 miles away, has no connection to the community.
Mhm.
So I went to the meeting, and it was interesting. And I would say the 4 or 5 state senators that were there, incredibly supportive of these Eugene emergency physicians.
Mhm.
And it was bipartisan too. There were some Republicans, there were some Democrats. And so what it made me, it kind of made me sad in a way because I despite the overwhelming support.
Yeah. No one wants this except the 2 people or the
Right.
2 entities involved in the deal.
Despite the overwhelming support, the consensus in that room was this cannot stand.
Mhm.
But then the little bit of like solution talk that happened, because they don't have a solution yet, was like, we'll see what we can do, but I don't know. Like
Mhm.
it's it's the like local government type system trying to fight against these like big corporations, these hospital systems.
Yeah.
It just struck me as like a David and Goliath situation,
Mhm.
which is kind of sucks, and like we want to think that like we can always turn to the legislative process to try to like protect the little guy,
Yeah.
but it's the deck is kind of, it feels stacked against you, and so
Yeah.
I loved seeing the community show up to that meeting, but
Mhm.
I also was like, I came away thinking, God, this is going to be hard to like prevent this kind of thing from happening
Mhm.
and from happening again and again and again, because these legislators, they've felt like their hands were a bit tied because they reached out to the Oregon Health Authority.
Mhm.
They didn't know what to do. They said, we can't do anything. And so
They didn't know what to
no,
do,
they
or
said they
there's
couldn't.
nothing they can
Well, they
do?
said they couldn't do anything, but the state senators were like, "We're gonna push back on that
Okay.
onto them." So it's like, but it just felt like nobody really knew
Kind of a gray area.
how to deal with this,
Mhm.
which is alarming because it's happening everywhere.
Right.
And so, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what else can you do but like keep trying, keep making your voices heard
Yeah.
and,
I mean,
um
that's living in a democracy, right? Is you have to advocate for what you want. You have to get out there
well,
and take
we
action on what you want.
we are living in a democracy.
Yes, not
But
everyone.
the corporations are not living in a democracy.
Yeah.
I don't know what world they're living in, but it's not the same one we are. So,
Right. But there is still power in a lot of people coming together and pushing back on things. And there may be some, battles lost on the way to win a war, but,
mhm,
if we just give up and let them, make us feel overwhelmed, then definitely nothing's going to happen.
yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know. Do you think is this like a doctors unionizing issue? Would that help? Like what do you see in our current system?
Yeah. It's
What do you
so
see for a path forward?
the practicing physician unionization issue is something that a lot of people, like, bring up,
Mhm.
and I would say it's hasn't really gotten a lot of traction around the country because it's hard for physicians to make that decision because it does leave a lot of patients kinda out to dry.
How so? I'm just not familiar with all of it.
I mean, we're doing the work of healthcare, right? And so you say, "Okay, we're gonna strike."
Oh, strikes particularly. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, because that's always the kind of
Yeah,
the nuclear
the
option.
mechanism.
The mechanism for unions is like, "Well, we're just not gonna work."
Right.
I mean, how does that hold up to our oath? And also that moral issue, ethical issue is weaponized against us
Mhm.
by the
Right.
hospital systems
Yeah.
and the people we're unionizing, we're fighting against. And what side are they gonna fall on? Well, they gotta get their health care,
Right.
right? And people need their lives to be saved and treated and
Yeah.
it's so I don't it's not a black and white thing. It's not. I think it's easier for in other industries for people to just strike,
Mhm.
like for Starbucks workers to strike,
Sure.
just because we're not talking about life and death situations.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what other
although
options
sometimes that is for caffeine is a life and death situation
feels
for
like
some
one
people.
anyway?
This morning it was for me.
I could tell. I
Um,
think you might need another one.
no, I'm worked up now.
Well, yeah.
I got
But if
natural.
it's not unionization, then
Right.
how can people, kind of combine forces, join together, get on the same page, move, do stuff to work
Well,
in the same direction?
I'm actually like I'm the more physicians get pushed and pushed around
Mhm.
and start losing their jobs and hospitals make decisions like this where they're like, "Oh, um, you know, all you local doctors, like it's costing us too much money to keep you."
Mhm.
So there's a firm in, like 8 states away that, will find locums folks to come in and just take those shifts.
Right.
The more that kinda shit happens, the more it is gonna push people toward unionism. We can only take so much.
Yeah. Also, I don't think patients will like it,
No,
right?
it's bad for patient care, and we have data to back that up.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
maybe that's part of it too is talking to the general public about what's happening because, you gotta show them how it's gonna negatively affect them. The average person outside of healthcare does not know what locums is probably. Even if they know what it is, they may not understand the implications that has for patient care.
yeah,
They, they're not as familiar with these issues as everybody, within healthcare is. So
yeah.
maybe that's part of it too is just making sure that people know what's going on and how that will.
That's a part of it's gonna be like public relations war,
Yeah, yeah.
for sure, and I mean, I wanna think that most people would be on the healthcare workers' side of things, but what happens when, like, the health is affected? Yeah, I there's and just the way we're wired, the way physicians are wired, like, the idea of, like, you know, walking away from our
Yeah, and I'm not
clinical
even talking about
responsibilities,
striking. I'm talking about
just
the
unionizing.
the
But
pressure. No, I'm not even talking about
oh,
unionizing specifically. I'm just saying right now, healthcare workers are the ones applying pressure. We need to get everyone on board applying
oh,
pressure.
yeah,
We
yeah,
need to help patients understand what's going on
mhm,
and how it negatively affects their care so that they are also applying pressure. And, you apply enough pressure to anything and it will break. So I think the
Maybe.
more people that understand what's going on
Yeah.
and push back on it, the easier it will be to try to change it. The more, not easier, the more likely it would be to actually create change. Because as you have seen on social media, for example, PR, they really care about
I
PR,
know. They
right? They
do.
really care about the messaging. They care about their image because that is the thing that ultimately affects their bottom line.
I've been told, and I won't reveal my sources, but a source. I have a source. I have several
Mm-hmm.
sources about this Peace Health Oregon, Eugene, Oregon
Mm-hmm.
thing. That um, the some of the administrators at Peace Health, people making these decisions, quote, did not think this would go national.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did not think that this would be such a PR nightmare for them.
Right.
And I am so proud to be one of the people, one of the voices
Yeah.
making it a nightmare for them. Because that's the thing. They don't want people to know they're making these decisions. Same
Right.
thing with insurance companies.
Yes.
They don't want people to know.
So the power is in
They want to
telling people.
just kind of just go along and just make your little
Sweep it under the
decisions and sweep
rug.
it under the rug, and then and play stupid like you don't know, like, oh well, so we had to do it, and what about the weather?
Mm-hmm.
But we can't let them do that,
Right.
right? So
So
yeah,
being loud about it, teaching people about it.
be loud and obnoxious. But the
Squeaky
issue is,
wheel gets the grease.
you know how so many of the comments I've received and messages, text messages, emails, and also I've received a lot of people in other healthcare systems around the country.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, that tell me this is what, like every single time, this is what these messages and emails say. They talk a long thing about talking about what the situation is, and usually it's something terrible. The same similar thing, corporate, they're firing healthcare workers in favor of corporate entities. And at the bottom of it, it says, I could get in trouble for saying this, so
Yeah.
please don't use my name.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time. So people are afraid to speak up because I get it. You don't want to lose your livelihood. And
Right.
so people who are able to speak up, and in Eugene, that's been a couple of the people that used to work there, but
Mm-hmm.
are not anymore, are coming to the defense because
Yeah.
they do feel like they can speak up.
Right.
That it's other people. Like this is a team thing,
Yeah.
folks.
Right.
Like I don't care how big your platform is. Like,
That's what I was gonna say. You don't even have to speak out so publicly like that. You can just be talking to your friends and neighbors and family members, and in your private conversations as a citizen.
or you can tag the CEO of Peace Health
Mm-hmm.
and talk to them directly. That's okay too.
Yeah. If you right, sure, that's what you
Like I
did.
can, I can. I don't know any Peace Health folks. All right. I don't have any other angry things to talk about today.
Okay, good.
What I do want to do in an episode soon, probably maybe in next week or in a couple weeks. We need to get into social media like ethics
Yes.
a little bit.
I mean, it's related to what we're talking about right
It
now. Like
is,
that is one way to get
yeah, but
information and education out there.
but also like about what in 2026, what should be considered okay
Mm-hmm.
for doctors to like do
Right.
and promote, and there's a lot to get into there, but I don't
Yeah.
know, we'll save it for the next episode. So be looking out for that in the next couple. I don't want to make myself do it in the
Yeah.
next
A
week.
Glauc
So
talk coming soon.
summit coming soon, next few weeks for sure. But that's it for Glauc Talk for today. Let us know what you think. Do you have anything to add? Please email us, knockknocki@human-content.com. Visit us, send us a message on our social media platforms. You can also reach out to us on YouTube, leave a comment there at Glaucomfleckens. Thank you to everybody leaving reviews and comments. Really appreciate that. We might give you a shout out if you do. So at Julia Binford, 6500 on YouTube said, by the way, did I say it was at Glauc? That's the handle?
Glaucomfleckens.
At
I think you did.
Glaucomfleckens. I love reading those comments. Julia said, I'd like to understand the costs of running ERs and hospitals, since it seems like many are in financial trouble.
Hmm.
You know what? It would be interesting to talk to somebody who has been in a hospital that closed down.
Mm-hmm.
And like knows kind of the ins and outs of like what happened financially.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, like what were the things that led up to that closure?
Right.
So let us know if you or someone you know can talk freely and openly about it.
And knowledgeably.
Yeah, we would love to have a conversation with somebody. So again, check it out, YouTube, video episodes. We also have a Patreon, lots of cool perks, bonus episodes, react to medical shows and movies, hang out with other people in the Knock Knock Hide community, early ad free episode access, interactive Q&A, live stream events, patreon.com/Glaucomflecken, or go to glaucomflecken.com. Patreon community perk time. Shout out to all the Jonathans as usual. Lucia C., Edward K., Marion W., Mr. Granddaddy, Caitlin C., Brianna L., MP Cole, Tracy B., Mary H., Keith G., Parker, Muhammad L., David H., Kaylee A., Gabe, Gary M., Eric B., Marlene S., Scott M., Kelsey M., Dr. Hoover, Sean M., Ryan N., Jess K., Hawkeye M.D., Bubbly Salt, and Shawnee D. Patreon roulette time. Random shout out to someone on the emergency medicine tier. Rebecca, thank you, Rebecca, for being a patron. And thank you all for listening. We're your hosts, Will and Kristen Flannery, also known as the Glaucomfleckens. Executive producers are Will Flannery, Kristen Flannery, Aaron Cordy, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Baroka. Editor and engineer Stacey Portiza. Our music is by Omer Benzvi. To learn about Knock Knock High's program, disclaimer, ethics policy, submission verification, and licensing terms and HIPAA release terms, glaucomflecken.com. You can read about them right there. You can read about them all day. Making them nice and juicy for you. Reach out to us if you have questions, knockknockhigh@human-content.com. with those questions or concerns or fun medical puns. Knock Knock High is a human content production.
Knock, knock, goodbye.
Thanks for watching the episode. You can find more on that playlist over there. If you prefer to listen or you just had your eyes dilated, you can binge full episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Or join the party over on Patreon, where you get early access episodes, hang out with us, get lots of exclusive bonus content. Help you subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think.